The face of bowling's younger generation, 22-year-old Gary Wallace. Long gone are the days when bowls was regarded as just an old man's pastime. Now it's the likes of Wallace, hungry for the major titles such as the Bass Masters and the £5,500 that goes with it. Hello there, 3 hours of comprehensive coverage from Ellesmere Port this afternoon. 4 matches culminating with the final of this year's championship. Well, the quarter-finals not quite over and done with. We've got 3 semi-finalists. Peter Varney and Colin Trousdale will contest the first of the semis. David Richardson's waiting to see who his opponent will be. Paul Gamsby or young Gary Wallace, who leads 2-0, the commentators Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
This talented young man from Doncaster. Fair lead. Good reply from Gamsby. Yes. I think this is an area of the green that Paul Gamsby fancies a bit, Brian.
Yes, he's done well here, hasn't he? He's practiced it too with Peter Varney in particular, his Midlands colleague. And he's found it very rewarding and a good opportunity here.
Great big bombs of bowls that he uses. £3.16. And they always have a little bit of extra travel in them. He's in for 2. Well, a high-scoring game perhaps. 2 ends played, 2 each apiece. Lovely line. Fine bowl. Excellent reply. Now, which bowl is counting?
Blue bowl.
Thank you, Mr. Oakes. It's the blue bowl that's counting. Referee Will Folks for this match. Creeping in, creeping. Tried very hard, but no change.
Gamsby 1.
Paul Gamsby has a 3-2 lead.
Gamsby in the competition, the lead to Wallace. Gamsby lead.
Very short mark, this one. Straight across the centre of the green. Comes down the hill there. Drops in to win. Guess he might try to do the same thing. Rest on the shot bowl. He has. Stays in himself.
Blue bowl.
Watch this bowl curve round. Does it make the contact? It does, but doesn't change the situation.
Gamsby 1.
Paul Gamsby, another single. 4-2, his lead. Pat Davis, one of the 3 ladies who brought into the competition, quitted themselves well, but couldn't make progress beyond the first round. nevertheless, they drew a lot of applause for their stylish play, and I think it's quite a breakthrough for the ladies' game, getting into the Bassmasters. Gary Wallace. Didn't come back. I think Paul is going to exploit this mark, Brian.
I'm sure he is, and you know, if those 3-pounders get on the road and then turn over, they're going to take some shifting. Good mark for him, this. I wouldn't have thought that Gary Wallace would be too much trouble by this sort of thing. He has done very well, but he likes playing up into the tricky areas around the crown. Want some advice here from referee Will Folks, how many it is against him.
Yeah.
Overhearing the conversation there, it might just be 2. But it's now 1 to yellow.
Wallace
So
one.
Gary changes it all with just 1 delivery. 3-4, he trails. So Gary sends the block away to give a close-up view to the spectators in the stand on the far side of the ground. And that's a close-up bowl. Gamsby needs to hit something. Oh, what a smasher.
Pardon? 4 inches.
I think it's a short 4 inches. Gary. Road looks lovely. Unlucky.
Just gone, isn't it?
Now, is Gamsby really trying with this bowl?
Doesn't want to do any damage, does he? This is the shorter. As far as he dare go.
Gamsby 1.
5-3 for Gamsby. Again, a tricky little short mark. Around about 30 yards, would you say, Brian?
Yes, I'm wondering where he's going to go from here, whether he's just jockeying for some position, but Gary has got plenty of room to work in, but he's sailed through. I just pull up on the bank there.
Yes, there's a very slight uphill finish on this particular block. And even Paul's big bombing bowls didn't have enough running to climb. What's up? And that's up for 2. Five across. Gary sending this block out just about down below us here.
Bearing in mind, Hugh, that he's the master on 19 metres, isn't he? Do you remember what he did in that game against Len Higginbottom? What a dramatic finish. A short end after short end, and questioned by Higgy a couple of times.
Yes, indeed. It's a round peg mark, and this is a very short one. Once again, so they're trickling the bowls in. And they finish a bit quick in this corner. Yes, nice two.
Slightly vulnerable, the jack. There is a gap if Paul Gamsby with the blue disc can get through. Might need a rub. Hey, he's done it.
Oh, yes.
Gamsby 2.
What a beauty. 2 penn'orth to Paul Gamsby. 7-5, he leads. Len Higginbottom watches with extra interest because it was Gary Wallace who put him out of this competition. As a former champion, he lost to Gary Wallace 21-13. So Paul from Hall Green in Birmingham, enjoying his canter up here at the Bassmasters. Thrilled a bit to be here. And doing a very tidy job. Oh, yes. Going to get a match here on very tight bowls, I think, Brian.
Yes, and there is room, you know, and he's trying to go for it. These big 3-pounders, can they hold the course? Yes! Oh, brilliant. Now then, can Gary better that?
He drops his bowl by the mat and goes and has a look.
Yes, his bowl may not do that trip, Hugh, with it being slightly lighter and weaker. He may be thinking about turning over, possibly even trying to play onto his own, but...
I would have thought that's very dangerous because
yes.
he needs only to be an inch wrong and he could turn the blue bowl over.
That's right.
Just wondering whether he might try and turn his own bowl over
Yes,
and come in on the other hand.
that's right.
No, he's coming in the same way.
He's going on the Grand Tour.
On a tighter line. Pulled up just short of the blue bowl. So, just a single to Paul Gamsby. 8-5 his lead. So Paul Gamsby leading a nice bowl out to this mark. Line is pulled very good indeed. Hey, they are tight down there. Running bowl. Can it have the running to get 2? No.
Wallace
Pulls
1.
up short. But a single to Gary Wallace. So 6-8. Well, here we have a change in plan. Having played a number of very, very short marks, Gary has not been able to readjust. He pushed that one out very, very strong. Paul looks to have some running there too. Well, he's pulled up shorter. Now Gary has quite a reduction to make. done it perfectly. Yes. Paul pushed that one out very much stronger. Has he got a contact? Yes, he has. Does the jack stay on the green? No, it doesn't. Dead end. But the end product is that Gary Wallace has got himself into the corner. And just wonder which direction he'll go from there.
I wonder whether he'd try an edge, but he's looking diagonally across the green, Hugh, so he's going to try the opposite corner.
Yes, I think he's decided that Paul Gamsby is his equal on the short lengths. So he's trying it right across the crown, diagonally into the corner down below us. And that's a very good lead bowl. Finger peg. It is going to find the gap. No. Perfect. That same shot is actually on for Gary. Rest on the blue bowl. Hey, it's trying, isn't it? Yes, sir. Oh, no. Paul, just bring the mat up. Don't bother about it. You're one down. If he takes his time and waits a moment, that blue ball might just topple over and drop in.
That's what Gary was saying. Come on, hurry up.
Wallace won.
They've agreed. There's a great spirit down there.
Yeah. Single, Gary Wallace, 7-8. So Gary offering to the far reaches of this Woodland Hotel green, way across into the corner, far side of the green. Something approaching 45, 50-ish yards. A marvellous lead by Gary Wallace. That's really something for Paul to beat. Pulled up short, and I don't think it's in the road either.
No, it's not. He can certainly get past there if he directs it absolutely right. And he's trying to play out that bowl.
Wrong by a foot. Single,
Wallace won.
Gary Wallace. Level, 8-8. So again, Gary goes for the corner. And that one much more directly into the corner. It's coming well. Oh, yes. Just gonna miss. Very intelligent bowl. Not only scoring 2 at the moment, but it's paired up with a blue bowl at the back. So if Paul gets a contact and the jack squitters back, he's in with a shout. Hey, he's Paul's in with a shout here. Oh, hard to bear.
Wallace 2.
2, Gary Wallace. That's his 3rd double of the match. 10-8 the lead. And Gary must be feeling now, Brian, that he's the boss man.
He thinks he's found something here, doesn't he, Hugh? He's going across, well, almost between the two crowns, certainly off one bank, then he's finding a valley through, and it's a long mark, it's the 50-yard one, and there is a theory in the game that the styles of both these players don't suit long-range bowling because they don't take a great stride. It's all arm work off the footer. Gamsby in particular had a football injury and broke a leg, and he changed his style shortly afterwards because of a bit of a weakness. And the style is very much all arm action, a short step forward, and now all arm action. Good follow through.
If he beats that bowl, he's in. Well, he was already in. No, Paul, it's not going to arrive.
Pleasure, please.
So it's a measuring job for Joe Owen and Frank Lomax. This is Joe on the right, getting down to the block itself. Frank Lomax measuring to the yellow bowl, and now the blue. So 2 it is.
Wallace 2.
Gary Wallace. 12-8 his lead. Gary hasn't set this mark quite as far as the previous 2 occasions that he came in this direction. He's just about on a length there, but a couple of feet wide of the target. This one looks better from Paul Gamsby. No, it's pulled up. I think it's just crept in to win it, but for a moment or two it looked as though it was going to be a lot closer.
Yes.
Oh, that missed the little bank, which would direct the ball back in again. For Gamsby, inviting his bowl to slow down. 1 for certain. I think that's all.
Gamsby 1.
So that little break of 2, 4, 6, 7 Chalks stopped. Now Gamsby 9-12 down. After Gary Wallace had come from 5-8 down to take a 12-8 lead. Paul going back to a much shorter mark, but I think Gary Wallace has beaten him. Where does this one finish? Out of the money. Definite chance of a double here for the talented Gary Wallace, 22 years old, from Doncaster. Not sure that he's taken it though.
Wallace 2.
Yes, he has. 14-9.
Well, from that point, Gamsby didn't exactly score again, so Gary Wallace, a relatively trouble-free match for him, I suppose you could say, running out 21-9. Right, let's have a look at the semi-final lineup then. Colin Trousdale and Peter Varney, David Richardson and Gary Wallace. Just 4 men left from the initial field of 32. Well, whatever happens from here on in, nothing can detract from what's been a superb week's bowling here. All the vital ingredients for any major championship. Big names, some surviving, others falling, and some new men earning and making a reputation for themselves. Men and women alike, all with one thing in common. They can Well, just a few highlights there from the week here at Ellesmere Port. Lots more good bowling to come. After the break, it's the 2 semi-finals. Join us again.
When you've missed the machine, you can get clothes clean by hand with new Ariel Rapide. In the few seconds it takes to dissolve, it's turned your sink into a washing machine. Ariel Rapide cleans so thoroughly. And it rinses so quickly. It's easier to get it clean without a machine with new Ariel Rapide.
Hi, Gar. You never told me you were into martial arts. Oh, no. I'm only coming here when the pub's packed. But I thought we'd come out tonight for a pint of skull.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you can't get skull in here.
Yes, you can. You just got to know where the bar is. Skull. Horribly good lager.
Graham and Brian have just retired. Graham chose a Norwich Union pension, Brian didn't.
We'll manage perfectly well with what we've put by.
Graham can continue to enjoy life to the full. Brian's trying to cope too.
There's a few miles left in this car yet.
Graham and his wife are just off on holiday, while Brian...
Our front garden's good enough for us.
Graham enjoys real peace of mind at night with the strength and security of a Norwich Union pension. And Brian?
We'll get by all right. The house is worth a bob or two. And there's your savings as well, aren't there, love? Love?
Don't just take our word for it. Take independent financial advice too about the performance of a pension from Norwich Union.
Hey, Mr. B, why are you buzzing around? Haven't you heard of Cadbury's Caramel? See, as the creamy tasting Cadbury's milk chocolate melts with that dreamy caramel. You just have to take everything really easy. Oh, looks like someone else could do with some. Take it easy with Cadbury's Caramel.
Make the most of your mobility allowance with Curry Motors plan for no deposit fixed cost motoring. Ask about Motability at Curry Motors. Nice people to do business with.
Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. Delicious golden flakes of corn, encrusted with honey, nuts, and brown sugar, which makes them quite the most irresistible breakfast imaginable. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. The trouble is, they taste too good.
And now for a break.
Nescafe, a better way to start your day. Isn't time that you woke up with just food and tasting love.
There's nothing like that special blend and roast to start the day on song.
Right then, first of the semi-finals coming up. Peter Varney from the Midlands against the local man, Colin Trousdale, who certainly knows his way around this Woodland Hotel green. Trousdale leading 9-4, commentary by Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
Green, using his left hand and that big long swing that he's got. Hoping to keep the jack on, that's the most important thing. Yes.
Williamson's expertise from the green side itself, down with the spectators at green level, whilst high up in the commentary position here we look down behind the bowlers as they bowl away from us deep into the far corner. Got one. Got a beauty. Got a winner, surely.
Well, they both put the yard and half off.
Colin wisely finding out how far back the blue bowl is, as he doesn't want to push the jack in that direction. Yes, he's got two there.
Run on a long way, Hugh. I'm not so sure that it is too now. Yes.
Trousdale! Trousdale.
Got it.
Yes, a big roar for Colin. He certainly has got support around this green. 11-4, Colin Trousdale. And he places the jack in the position, and if he wins this end, he'll be back on his favourite track again. Oh, and that's a fine lead bowl. What a cracker. Oh! Tell you what, he looks to have done his homework on this green, has Colin. Come again, they said. Come again. No, not with that one.
But if there's any weight from Varney, the jack may well spring that way. It's the best you can say for it.
Touching.
Well, if he is going to bang, yes, he is.
Watch camera.
It's going to be a drive. Oof. Didn't miss by much, but it missed nevertheless. And Colin grins down at our cameraman, who bravely sat there as the shells were flying around his ears and kept getting the pictures.
He froze.
Another single, Colin Trousdale, 12-4, he leads. As a local man who's had a very good view of this game all week from the bottom of his garden. He's got a close view now as Colin Trousdale's bowl trickles up to kiss that jack. Just dropped short. A talented youngster, Gary Wallace, as keen as anybody in this crowd to watch the gentle, quiet, consummate skills of Colin Trousdale. Giving it a go. Well played, Peter Varney.
Varney. 1.
So Peter. Peter said, you want it back over the same place again? There's no way he's going there.
Poised, waiting in case there is a measure there. Was the measures with the measuring tapes, but they've not been required too often, certainly in a game like this where often there's scarcely any daylight between the winning bowl and the jack.
Good lead from Peter Varney, and he really does need to keep this block in his possession now for half a dozen ends or more. Peter, bowler for some 20 years. Touch of the knees. Well, that's a double for Peter Varney.
Varney. 2.
7-12. Now he has a look into the corner beneath the big leaderboard. I think he's got to. I think he's got to go for the corners, Brian.
He has. We found in the past when anybody's taken Trousdale on in the corners, he's invariably come back with a winner. But it's not happening quite this way because the quality of leading from Varney in the corners has been good. He's there dropped to just under a yard short.
Bowing finger peg over the crown. No legs. As we come down with the running bowl. And Peter Varney runs alongside it, urging it to run a bit further. Now he's left a lot of room here for Colin Trousdale. Colin needing another 5 foot on his first bowl. It'll do it. Yes. Well, that was an error by Peter Varney. Lost a chance there. And Colin on 13, Varney on 7. And pictures for the family album being taken as this jack moves towards the camera lens. And predictably, the block finishes up back on the Trousdale track.
You know what's finding them out, Hugh? This green is quite slow now, isn't it? It's been quite overcast, quite cloudy. The wind has dropped and it's finding them out. It's certainly running a lot slower.
But the interesting fact constantly seems to be that Colin is the one who gets the right correction every time. And he's done it again. Now Peter needs at least 2.5 yards of running in this bowl. I should think that Colin has another single here.
Trousdale, 1.
And it was a dejected Peter Varney who threw the jack down, the footer down then, because he knew for a fact exactly where he was being invited to go next time. Seven in it now. Colin Trousdale in front, 14-7. Oh, it's pretty to watch. Almost as though he's got a little radar machine inside his bowls where they home in on the target. Touch of the nears from
Hey, that was
Peter
a coat of
Varney.
varnish, yep. So close.
He's there again. Varney must be wondering now what on earth he's got to do to shake the consistency of this little man, Colin Trousdale. Another single. 15-7 the lead.
Trousdale, 1.
Once again, that yellow bowl heading for the target. How much further is it going to run? Good ball, Peter. Needs a yard on his first ball. He's got it. Yes, indeed. The corrections are almost uncanny, Brian.
Yes, whenever he leads more than a foot away from the jack, his second bowl is that much better. And it's appreciated, and Varney all the time is up against it. Look at that. He's got away with it, you know.
He has. Peter has himself a chalk there. 8.15 he's behind. It looks as though he's brought his grandson down now to enjoy this feast of bowling that's going down on at the bottom of his garden. Peter Varney, great bowling family. Mother, father, father-in-law, even his wife Kim are bowlers. Kim didn't mind at all when they first married that Peter's first move in the new home was to go and build a mini bowling green in his own garden. When I say mini, it's 37 yards by 20 yards, so you can get a fair little bit of practice down there. Will it turn back? No.
Yes?
Nuisance ball. It's in the way. Surely that won't come back from there. Now a chance for Peter Varney. Again. A single. 9.15.
Varney,
And he looks lovingly across the diagonal into the corner down below us. The rapt attention of many of Colin Trousdale's supporters who have helped to swell the audience here at the Woodland Hotel for this semi-final. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Still on the green, but only just. Certainly not near enough to put any fears into Colin Trousdale's mind. And he's strong. And it also just stays on. It's closer than the blue bowl. Now, has Peter taken running out of this? Wins it on a length. Hey, this is it. Yes. Colin showing us that he can bowl the corners just as well as he can bowl it across the centre of the green. Another single, 16-9.
1.
Mucky devil, my son, look at that grease. You'll have to sling it.
Oh, no, Mum. Ariel liquid.
Liquid? You or me?
It's new over here, but this is how we are doing it in Holland. Pre-treat with Ariel liquid, so it gets to work on the stain even before the wash.
He should have married a Lancashire lass.
No dispenser. Pour the liquid into the plastic bowl.
Don't tell me you put the bowl into the machine.
Yeah. She's washing my son's shirts with lukewarm water and a plastic bowl.
See? It gets to work straight away. The aerial bowl puts the liquid right in the heart of the wash. Grease stain? Go.
Must be a different shirt.
Color? Cup? Everything clean. It's up.
Real liquid. It sounds crazy, but you find it cleans to the heart of the wash.
He's good.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking. Here comes another sunflower margarine. Wrong. This sunflower's a low-fat spread. Shaped sunflower spread. High in polyunsaturates, low in saturates and cholesterol, but it has less than half the fat of any sunflower margarine, which is what makes it so attractive. Oh, well, it could be my aftershave. Well, it could.
We've got sunflowers into shape.
There are times when you deserve more than just a coffee break. So make a cup of Mellow Birds. You'll find its smooth, mellow, roasted flavor turns an ordinary moment a mellow moment. Mellow Birds for mellow moments.
George Formby doesn't fit with heavy metal.
Champagne doesn't fit in an old tin kettle.
But whenever there's a snack gap, Twix fits.
You wouldn't fit a pram with an in-car phone.
The Chihuahua can't bury a dinosaur bone.
But whenever there's a snack gap, Twix fits.
So when things are too small or too big to buy,
one thing fits just right. Twix has shortcake and caramel, plus delicious milk chocolate, and there's two as well. So whenever there's a snack gap, Twix fits. Whenever there's a snack gap, Twix fits.
Could there be a better way to feed the dog you care for? Top breeders say there is.
One of our dogs had a delicate tummy. He wasn't very happy on any of the foods that I'd been trying.
Now there's a new way. New Pedigree Chum.
With New Pedigree Chum, he's blossomed forth into a really good-looking dog, and now he's a happy dog, and I'm a happy owner. Simply, New Pedigree Chum is terrific.
Now there's a new way. New Pedigree Chum. Top breeders recommend it.
Supradin, multivitamins with minerals. 12 vitamins, 8 minerals, and a million citrus flavor bubbles, all in one little fizzy tablet. Supradin from Roche. Start your day with a fizz.
Welcome back. We're now going to rejoin that first semi-final. You haven't missed a thing. Trousdale still leading 16-9.
And he will aim to halve the green. And try and get back onto his favourite mark. And then run away with it. Colin shakes his head. Encouragement from the crowd told him it was a good length, which is not what Peter Varney's bowl is. It's a bad length. Colin then needs same weight, just a different line. And once again, this man's corrective ability is outstanding. I don't think I've ever seen a bowler have the ability to make the positive corrections so many times. Chances for Peter Varney. Beautiful bowl, well done. Well, they both corrected that time.
Varney, one.
And it was Varney who did it best. 10-16. And I think the crowd are warming to this tall and talented bowler from the Midlands, Peter Varney, Brian.
Yes, hasn't he fought well? He's been a long way behind. It was 8 ends before he even counted, and then he trailed 9-1. But he's stuck at it. He is a very talented bowler. I think he has problems with this big swing on shorter marks, Hugh, but in the corners it helps him, and that's where if he's going to win, if he's going to get back, it's got to be in the corners.
The trouble is that he's having to go to corners directly after playing short marks, and it's so difficult to readjust the delivery weight. Mary Ashcroft being asked to adjudicate, give her opinion at this time by Peter Varney. He's certainly got to put at least 4-footer running.
Well, if they have to pick one, I'd pick the yellow.
He's certainly got to put at least 4 to 5 feet of running into this bowl as compared with his first delivery. Actually put a bit too much in. Now, has that gone out? Now it looks as though the blue ball is just about counting. That was the indication anyway that Mary Ashcroft gave. And she's got a good eye, Brian.
She's a good judge, and in fact in that vital measure in the Chris MacDonald-Steve Bradbury game, she fancied the MacDonald bowl before the measure. But as she says, it's up to the players to ask. What about this? This is asking.
Oh, yes. The lad's done it again.
Trousdale, 1.
Well, this is soul-destroying for Peter Varney. Colin is certainly giving a lot of pleasure to the 3 ladies in this competition. Maureen Lyons, Sue Plumley in the centre, Pat Davis on the left. They're enjoying this. Peter looks strong, he'll run through. Colin, as you were saying earlier, Brian, relatively unknown, but a winner since he first took the Farrington Cup when he was just 16 years old. That was some 33 years ago.
Yes, Andy. I was told, Hugh, as this bowl from Varney comes in is unlikely to disturb anything, that when he qualified for the Bassmasters, he had a chance of winning it. Those in the know around here tipped this man from the start.
1.
Yes, I remember first time I saw Colin was some 4 years ago at Frill when he was playing with our dear friend Flash Harry Smith in the Midlands Bank Pairs.
Played it well, though.
It was Harry who told me to get a few bob on this fellow. I can now reveal you.
Flash Harry, a redoubtable bowler himself. Runner-up in the Waterloo to Arthur Murray 10 years ago. And one of the most popular people in the game of crown bowls. Delightful character. And that was a delightful bowl from Peter Varney.
Definitely.
Peter, is he going to couple up here? Looks good. Looks very good. Ah!
Varney.
He's one on the Trousdale track. 2, 12, 18. And I wonder what the views of Roy Orbison are at this time. And he's, interestingly enough, he's got Rod Trousdale, Colin's son, down at the greenside with him.
Roddy, your dad's just lost the jack on his favourite piece of land that he's almost worn a groove in there, but you must be quite pleased with the way he's playing.
Yes, very pleased. He's been very consistent.
I'm told that you also play the game a little bit too.
Yes, I play for the local club, Ellesmere Port. in Chester, all around Merseyside. I follow my dad everywhere though when I'm not playing.
You follow him an awful lot?
Yes.
And you've played on this green, I believe, as well?
Yes, lots of times.
Good,
In the league we play in Ellesmere Port.
Have you had a little bit of an interest in your dad this week?
Very much so. I like to have been in all 3 days, but of course I've been working, so I attended on Wednesday afternoon. I couldn't make it Friday, so he said he'd see me on Saturday.
He was so confident that he said he'd see you on Saturday.
Yeah.
And have you had any little financial wagers?
Oh yes.
Have you?
Yes.
You've had a little bit of that as well?
Yes, I've had a couple of bets here and there.
Have you?
I just hope he wins it now.
He's got a problem here, hasn't he? You know, with this bowl, it's just 10 inches off here. What do you think he'll do here?
I haven't got a clue.
Haven't you?
So unpredictable.
Yeah. I think he'll come the other peg. I think he'll come finger peg and
He
try and
may
take
do.
that bowl out. Let's see. I'm wrong, you know better than me.
It's so unpredictable, you never know what he's going to do next.
Is that so? Yeah. Well, if he can get past, there's a chance.
Short.
For sure.
Into the back.
Well, he's one down. He's still in control, do you think, yeah?
Yes. He's been so consistent, I'm confident in him now.
And he's going to go right back in that corner now. Will that bother him?
No. I'm surprised my dad. Just lately he's picked smaller marks. He normally does play corners, especially in doubles with Harry Smith. He always plays corners.
Yeah.
So he's no stranger to the corners and greens.
That's right. And they're going up where all his supporters are, aren't they, in this corner?
I think everywhere the supporters for him today.
Yeah.
It's got to be. With him living round here, everybody's with him now.
Yeah, naturally, yeah. He's had, well, you can hear from the crowd, he's had some real good support from the crowd this morning. Lots of noise, hasn't he?
Yes.
Well, he's got a good bowl to beat.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's certainly sent it far enough. He's given it some woof.
The land's not a mile away either.
Good, fine. Thanks, Roddy.
Right.
So, young Roddy, certainly rooting for his dad. And who can blame him? Colin certainly has given a great deal of entertainment to this crowd here at the Woodland Hotel. Not only in this match, but in his 2 previous games against Les Williams and Keith Hall. And Frank Kitchen, of course, in the quarter-final. No, that is not going to arrive. So, what is the score there?
Varney.
It's 2 to Varney. 15-18. A break of 5. And Peter Varney not dead yet. Just 3 in it. And that's deep into the corner. And it's a bit of a push up to the jack there. Yes, good lead. Now let's see how Colin reacts to that. Son Roddy says that Colin, his dad, is a corner player. By golly, I think he's right. Oof. I think that's won it. 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but I think the yellow ball's won it.
I'm with you. And the referee, who is a good judge, wants to look at it from both sides. May just have a lean into the yellow.
Well, that's what she's looking down at.
Just like the yellow, but there's not very much in it.
Peter Varney, if he is to stay alive in this semi-final, really has got to arrive with this bowl. It isn't going to get there.
Hugh, this is a situation where I thought Colin might have come and had a look, because, you know, he can't afford to touch the better of the 2 bowls from Varney.
No, that's not going to change anything. And Peter Varney is definitely going to ask for a measure.
I wonder how genuine that last delivery was, but he'd not had a look. Does he trust the referee that much? She said she had a leaning towards the back bowl, the yellow bowl.
And if that back bowl belongs, is the winner, it belongs to Colin Trousdale. And this would be a very, very fine time for him to score.
No, either.
But it's Joe Owen and Roy Bate who bring it out. The yellow bowl is being measured first, and then very carefully the blue bowl. Who's in?
Right, turn up on this one, please. Right.
And a remeasure. I wonder if we could have a no end here.
I think she just wanted to tighten up on the blue, see if there's a gap.
On that one as well.
Oh, it's very, very tight.
This will be the last one, surely.
There can be very, very little in this.
Blue ball!
The blue bowl was in. Oh, well. And that couldn't have been much more than millimeters. A single, 16-18. And high drama now in this semi-final. A match that seemed to be going totally Colin Trousdale's way at 9-0, at 15-7, at 17-10, even at 18-10. Now it's 18-16. And Peter Varney has led very well to that block. Oh, yes. What a cracker. A little bit of top spin on the bowl. Knocks the shot bowl out. Runs onto the block himself.
Soul destroying. He's got to do it again.
That's out. Got to be a double here for Colin, surely. And the crowd are roaring it on. Run a bit. No, I think it's just one.
Trousdale, 1.
Yes. So that 6 shots gallop from Peter Varney, stopped by a wonderful collision bowl. 19-16, Colin leads. Predictably, he goes across to drop his bowl onto the block by about 14 inches. Far side, centre of the green. Centre of the far side of the green. Great try by Peter. I wonder if it's there. Mary waiting until she's asked.
You need to turn it over twice.
No, the yellow bowl is in. Colin looking for the 2 that'll give him a place in the final. He's got the 2 there. Peter Varney. 3 bowls in a line. Somehow he's got to squeeze through. He has! He has! Wonderful bowl!
Varney, 1.
Snatched the match away from Colin Trousdale. 17-19. Peter waits for the bubble of excitement around the green at the Woodland Hotel to quieten down. He's worked it out. He knows where he wants to go. Left-handed delivery, which is never easy for a right-handed bowler to follow. Really wants a good lead. It's climbing the hill. Is that close enough? That's got the beating of it. Yes. It's climbing and it's going to drop on. Excellent. A very fair-minded audience here at the Woodland, Brian. They're wrapped up in this game, aren't they?
Appreciative of good bowls, aren't they? They've all got money on Colin Trousdale here, but they certainly appreciate and recognise the good bowling of Peter Varney. Tremendous fight back. 18-10 down, 17-19 he trails now.
Only 1.
Chances, chances. Got it! I think he's got the 2. No. Yes, it is. He's got the 2. Colin Trousdale pulls out an absolute stormer of a bowl. The handshake warm and friendly from Peter Varney. He has to bow to the better man on the day. Colin Trousdale, 21-17.
Well, local knowledge is clearly very important, but there's a lot more to Colin Trousdale than that, as he proved recently when he won the Manchester Evening News. Now here he is in the final of the Bath Masters, and along with his young son Roddy, is talking to Roy Armstrong.
Hope for the best.
That's what
I'll tell you what, you had Roddy here dancing about on the seat. He was in all sorts of situations here. He thought you'd win, but he was very worried, weren't you, Roddy?
No, it got me a bit worried when he started coming back, but I had a bit of faith in my dad at the end.
Yeah, I think he thought that your groove, Mark, we feel sure you've won a groove across that middle. Where did you find that from?
I don't know, actually. I came here practicing, and I thought if I can find a mark, I'll be all right. And I couldn't find one. And I dropped on that mark in my first game against Les Williams. I don't know how, I just suddenly, I knew Les liked a long length, and I just thought if I'll shorten him, I just seemed to drop on that mark, you know, and I've stuck with it, and it's paid, isn't it? Paid dividends.
You've been saying it was very much like the mark you played in the Manchester Evening News. We've been saying that during the course of the week.
It's similar, but the mark I played in the Manchester Evening News was a lot more difficult, particularly going one way. It was very, very difficult to get bowls on the land, and if he wasn't the length, then they just went straight through. You know, as you know, you play the game, so you know what it's all about.
Yeah. What do you think now, Roddy? Can he go all the way?
I think he will now. The crowd's well behind him.
Good, that's
I
fine.
feel sorry really for the person that's got nobody behind him, because I think everybody now is from Ellesmere Port, and they must all be supporting my dad.
Yes, it's going to be a daunting prospect whoever plays Colin in the final, either David Richardson or Gary Wallace. Find out who it's going to be right after the break.
Stains like blood, sweat, gravy and egg. Biotex removes them. No bleach, so gentle with colors. Biotex, the specialist soaker and pre-washer.
Okay. Here's 2 cans of McEwen's Export.
Now there's a quality beer for you.
And 2 glasses. 1 for you and 1 for me.
Just look at those shores.
What shores?
Thanks, I'll have a McEwen's Export.
McEwen's Export. That speaks for itself.
Shut your eyes.
Nice. Sort of.
Like wholemeal bread.
As if.
It has the goodness of the whole grain in every flake.
Could I.
Have a bowl?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain, wholly delicious.
He knows they're cool. He knows they're clear. But what he doesn't know is that now they're even mintier. Silly boy. Fox's Glacier Mints. Now 10% more minty.
Fresh cream cakes, too nice for words.
Well, why don't you shut up then?
Is a cigar called Hamlet, the mild cigar.
I'm a freelance journalist, Linda Clark, and I test baby products, toys like teddy bears. But I always like a second opinion from my twins, Christopher and Alexander, and there's no tougher test than that. So when Mother magazine asked me to test some of the new Ultra nappies, we got straight to work. After testing, I found that Ultra Pampers stayed the driest. They have a special lock-away core designed to absorb wetness and lock it away from the baby's skin. It feels dry to the touch. You can even wring it. Overnight, I asked the twins to do their bit. Nice and dry. And then through the day. They chose Ultra Pampers too. They kept the twins drier and more comfortable. As any expert will tell you, happiness is a dry bottom or two.
Ultra Pampers. Even when they're wet, they're dry.
If you don't get the best pensions advice, watch out. The Halifax Personal Pension Service. It could well be your best plan.
Well, all week, the bottom half of the draws provided the most intriguing and eventful games. The second semi-final, on paper anyway, certainly fitting into that category. David Richardson against Gary Wallace. Although, as we join it, Wallace leads 12-3. Commentary by Roy Armstrong and Hugh Johns.
Gary Wallace, that's the 3 he beat. I suppose Len Higginbottom would be the biggest scalp there of those 3, Roy.
Certainly, yes. I think Gary himself was saying that he was somewhat apprehensive when the draw was made, but he thought that if he could dispose of Len, then he'd a very good chance.
Well, he certainly worked up a very good chance for himself here of reaching the final. With David Richardson in some difficulty. Gary trickling up for 2. David cannot afford to give away a 2 here. Is that going to come back? It could win it. No, but at least it cut the count down.
Wallace won.
A single. 13-3. So 9 chalks, the difference. A tremendous performance against both Ken Strutt and Noel Burrows. But he looks back to that Bancroft game, Roy. He got out of jail there from 5-15 down. Is he going to get out of jail again here?
Yeah, that was a fantastic recovery. One of the real Houdini jobs, and he's got to do the same again. He's got to gather all his strength here and delve into the experience that he's got, because this lad plays an awful lot of bowls. He plays nearly every day of his life, and he's got to find some way of getting rid of this Gary Wallace, because Gary's leading so well. You know, he's forcing David to play up all the time.
Yellow ball.
Yes, and Gary Wallace, an absolute dead ringer for Nigel Smith, the very talented flat green bowler. The same bouncy confidence about him too. Oh, yes. What's he going to hit? What does he hit? Yes. Well, he needed that.
Richardson won.
Single to David Richardson. 5 shots run ended for Gary Wallace, and a chance for David Richardson to pick out a new piece of land. Well, this is a mark that we haven't seen played too often in the Bassmasters this week, Roy.
Yes, he's certainly picked a new piece of land here. He's going right down the side of the green, about 36 yards here, but he's a long way past if he misses the jack. He's connected.
He needed that. He might even have gone into the ditch if he hadn't got that connection. Oh, yes. Playing through. Got the connection. Knocked the block a long way, but who's left in? The yellow bowl is still counting, and anything a yard from the block will turn 1 into 2. That'll do.
Wallace 2.
15-4. And of course, Gary Wallace now in a perfect position to use the other corner, Roy.
He certainly is, and it's interesting here. You know, he's going up to the centre of the green. He's showing his versatility. This is what he's done earlier on in the week, and going this position, it's all uphill, and he's usually led very well here. He's playing finger peg, and just about a yard. Room for David here, I think.
David, an impetuous sort of bowler, I think. Gary stands on the mat, takes a little bit of time figuring out what he's going to do, but David Richardson is up on the mat, and the bowl is running really before he's composed himself.
Richardson won.
There was a case where he could have got 2 if he'd thought about it a little longer. Scores a single, 5-15. often have the bowl on its way before the block has finished its travel, as he has there. He says himself he's trying to calm himself down and take a little more time over his game. I think it would improve it, Roy.
Yes, I think it's just in his nature, it's just in his character, Hugh, and I absolutely agree with you. You know, I think he does at times need to slow down and just think a little bit about what he's doing, and I'm sure he'd be a lot better for it. But of course, he certainly does that when he's striking. He just he lets go without warning almost.
Mind you, having said all that, he's got a fair track record over the years. He won the Lancashire Junior Merit 7 years ago. Isle of Man festivals, Vaux Open, GC Classic. He's got some good trophies behind him. Gary with a little bit of weight. Got the contact, dead end. Jack in the ditch. The enthusiasm of the youngsters around this green, I think, is so impressive, Roy. There's plenty of keen interest, and you can see new bowlers springing up in those young faces.
You certainly can, and walking around the green, they've been talking to me and talking to all the players and asking where they are, and they've been trying to make friends with them, which is really good, and asking them little questions, and that all goes well for the future.
And it's certainly this sort of competition, with its big prize money, £5,500 for the winner, that helps to keep the interest in crown bowls. Certainly inspires these bowlers to give of their best. So David certainly holding one, might even have two here at this moment. But Gary's last bowl on its way. Through, out at the back. Certainly looks like two for Richardson, as Gary Wallace takes his time about going back up there. He's an exuberant young man, but he takes time out from time to time to contemplate the situation, settle himself down.
Richardson 2.
So it's 2 to David Richardson, 7-15, 8 behind. And this is what David feels about playing against Gary Wallace. He's obviously looking for revenge. David's brother Peter beaten 3 times by young Gary. David still has a lot of leeway to make up in this match, this semi-final match. Not coming back from there. Looks as though the yellow bowl might just be fractionally closer at the moment. Well, that's now changed. The blue bowl is counting, the second blue bowl.
Richardson 2.
Yes, 2 for David Richardson. 9-15. Referee Will Folks heads away into the far corner. That's where David Richardson plans to play this end. looking for a good lead. A couple of feet short.
David's decided now to settle for these 42-yard marks, and he's leading very well. That ball of Gary's has just ricocheted off his ball, and I think he's counting again.
Yes, a little bit of fat there. And this is strong. He got it. He took the shot ball right out. And that hit will, I think, do him good. Unlucky.
Richardson 1.
A single to David Richardson. 10-15, just 5 behind now. So he's closing the gap. Well, Gary, like everybody in the game, knows that he has to play up constantly, because this fellow Richardson really does hammer a bowl away, doesn't he, Roy?
He certainly does, and he's got that jack perched on the precipice of the shelf. It's almost one of the furthest jacks we've seen during the course of the day, and he's got a good lead going here, because anything past that jack will go off the green.
And I think it's fair to say that Gary was out bowling David Richardson, as he predicted he would, for quite some portion of this game. 15-4 at one stage in front. But now it's 15-10. David is holding 2 at the moment. No, it's gone into the ditch. 2 more for David Richardson. 12-15. And this is the sort of comeback that we saw from David Richardson in his game against John Bancroft, the very first game of the tournament as far as David Richardson was concerned. And that one he came back from 5-15 to win it 21-19, and here he's coming back from 4-15 at this moment.
And he's gone a bit further now, Hugh. He's lengthened it and made a very good lead. He's going 50 yards here, right out of the leaderboard corner, and it's all uphill. And once again, beyond the jack, it's very difficult. Anything past the jack will run away about 2 yards.
Well, the collision took a little of the running off the yellow bowl, but as you so rightly predicted, even that didn't stop it running right on through. David Richardson certainly got good support around this green. The man from Wigan.
1.
Not easy for Gary Wallace to get through there now. And he plays with some weight. Controlled weight, but direction a little wayward.
Richardson 1.
Another one for David Richardson, and bit by bit he's clawing his way back into this semi-final.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a family doctor always at hand?
Good morning.
Now you can. Claire Rayner's Family Doctor. It answers all your questions. 4 week-by-week pullouts and Sunday magazine, free with the news of the world. Inside your body, a top-to-toe guided tour. Kids, Everything from pregnancy to teenage problems. Illustrations, special features, starting this Sunday with the Good Sex Guide.
Claire Rayner's Family Doctor.
To be taken every week for 4 weeks. In Sunday magazine, free with the news of the world.
When's lunch, please? I fly first class because I like good service. It's the duty feast before lunch. Can I get you something to be going home with? No, thank you. What will I look like on the beach? Enjoy your flight. Ah, Milky Way. That is tempting.
Milky Way. Whipped light and fluffy so it won't fill you up, and covered in milk chocolate.
Aren't the pilots looking younger these days?
Milky Way. The sweet you can eat between meals without ruining your appetite.
We've made Whiskers even tastier. How will you know? Your cat will tell you. Whiskers. Now it's even tastier, and that's better for both of you.
Hi, Grandad.
Hello, son. You're looking well.
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
I've got the kettle on. Do you want some tea?
Oh, yes, please. I'd love one. Oh, I picked your pension up from the post office.
Ah, thanks, son. Here. Did you see the Prudential like I told you to?
I've been busy.
Busy? You want to get busy organising yourself a pension?
Grandad, plenty of time. I'm only 30.
Yes, and then you'll only be 40. Then only 50. Then only 60. Then what?
Well, you haven't done so badly.
Yes, that's because I fixed myself up when I was your age. I wanted a little bit more to look forward to.
Today, more people have a Prudential personal pension than any other. When it comes to your pension, be prudent. See Prudential.
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment. You and me alone at last. Because I usually just get to see you at parties. But there's no one to come between us now. Only you, me, and the avocado dip. But first, I'm going to try with nothing else.
You know you love the fresh-baked taste of Ritz, so don't leave them on the shelf. Ritz, if you love them, take them out.
We're both going to pieces.
Beat the time barrier with Curry Motors. Nice people to do business with. Curry Motors have your brand new F registration Austin Rover ready for you to drive away in under an hour from only $19.95 a week or with our popular low-cost finance plan. Hurry, beat the time barrier with Curry Motors. Nice people to do business with.
Welcome back. So David Richardson mounting quite a recovery again, but Wallace is still out in front, 15-13.
Yes, there again. Beginning to give Gary Wallace something to think about, Roy.
He sure is. I think actually he's given Gary a bit of a chance here because he's stopped the jack a little bit shorter so that Gary can afford to reach up. If he passes the jack here, he won't go an awful long way.
Very partisan crowd saying miss all, miss all, miss all. Another chance for Gary Wallace. A touch on the block itself would be nice. Missed everything. Blue ball counts. From 4-14 down to 14-15. 10 chalks in a row. And it's a very, very slow figure of Gary Wallace walking down the green. I wonder if he's perhaps doing that rather deliberately to try and slow down this firecracker of a man, David Richardson, who loves to get on with the game. It's a good lead again. Maybe a yard past. Contact with the jack. Still the yellow ball ran out. Holding 2, and if it stays that way, he goes in front. Chances here for Gary Wallace. Won it. Or has he?
Measure, please.
It's a measure. That's Roy Bate and Frank Lomax to sort this situation out, and both bowlers will be anxious here. David, because if it's his, he goes level. If it's against him, he goes 2 behind.
Blue ball.
Blue ball was in, and they're level. Well, they say lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place, but it's beginning to look that way here. John Bancroft will tell you that he had his match won against David Richardson when he was 15-5 up. He knew he was home with the gate shut, and he lost it 21-19. And David Richardson has come here against Gary Wallace, a hot favourite for the title, from 4-15 down to 15 across.
And that's an absolutely terrific lead, Hugh. He's got the jack right on the top of the shelf. Just a bowl a foot over will go in the ditch here.
Well, that's one gone. I should think the odds have fluttered in all kinds of directions during the course of this game, Roy. Oh,
yeah.
A little back heel flick there knocks the blue ball tight onto the jack.
Yes, anybody who's been doing some heat betting on this and has been laying the odds, they've just about lost all the money.
Gary's lost out on that end, and Richardson is in front for the very first time in the match. 23 ends of bowls completed, and from 4-15 down, he's now 17-15 in front. Gary just can't get the block back in his control. Chances here now, perhaps, for Gary Wallace. He must open his eyes up now and think, has David Richardson made a mistake? Yes, that's one to beat. The road is very good. What about the weight? Yes! Great roar echoing round this green. What a battle. Won't beat it.
Richardson
Won't stop.
one.
Another single. 18-15. A break of 14 chalks. This is amazing, Roy.
Yes, he's doing it again, isn't he? And as he took his slow walk up with the footer, Gary had an anxious look at the scoreboard, realising that if he doesn't get in at this end, David is in within distance of home.
Where has the change come, Roy? Has Gary just gone off the boil, or has David really just put it together?
I think it's a little bit of both, and it's come about from David coming off these 35-yard marks and going into the opposite corners, these corners he's playing now. And I can't emphasise enough, the leads down here are superb. I mean, that jack is perched on the precipice there, and the ball is just about a foot behind. They're marvellous leads.
Gary will do well if he gets anything out of this. It's trying very hard for him. Oh, it is trying hard. It's a magnificent bowl. And Richardson aims to knock it off immediately. The bowl had hardly come to rest. And the blue bowl's on its way, and he's missed. And David Richardson's break is over. And there's some relief showing now on the face of Gary Wallace. This talented young man, just 5'6" tall, from Doncaster in South Yorkshire, though for reasons rather too lengthy to explain quickly, he now plays for Yorkshire.
I think that last ball that David played there, Hugh, he's one of the few players in the game that would have had a full-blooded strike there. Most people would have just tried to play a yard over and just take the jack through. But that's the way David plays.
Yes, he makes up his mind. Quick, let's do it. Bang, bang, and it's gone. So Gary now drops this round peg mark along the side of the green. The line is good. The weight is perfect. The target is broad. David reckons he can outdraw it. Well, he's got one close enough. I guarantee he'll have a bang at the end if he can. Well, Gary doesn't want to broaden the target. Oh, it's weight. Stan Welbeck says, well, folks, the referee. Got it. Dead end. Had to. Short jack. Broad target. Bound to hit something, Roy.
You were right, Hugh. You said he mustn't broaden the target, and Gary didn't really want that ball to peg down. He wanted it to stop just a yard on top, but just counting. And a perfect strike by David.
But the end result, to an extent, is the same, because Gary wanted to win in this corner so that he could get on the other diagonal, the one that he'd been successful with early in the match. And that actually has happened. The game restarts a metre away from where the block went into the ditch, and that was right in the corner. On a good road. What a bowl.
And the long session that David's had in the other corners, Hugh, have stood him in good stead, because he was quite used to this length. This is exactly the length that they've been playing in the opposite corners.
I don't think so. David fancies his chances for 2 here.
Richardson.
Yes, he has. He's got him too. 2016. And I know we've said it many times, but 4:15 down, 2016 up. This doesn't happen in bowls, Roy.
It's not right, is it? No, I mean, it just can't happen, but here it is. We keep saying we've seen it all before, but we haven't, you know, it keeps on happening.
Amazing stuff. Well, for once, David's lead not as accurate as he would have liked. Given Gary the chance, and he's taken it. What did that go over? It was almost something on the green almost that threw that bowl up in the air.
You see it, yeah. You see it from there, look at it sticking up.
Green in magnificent condition, generally speaking, but there's something down there that disturbed the running of that bowl. Is it 2? Looks like it. It is. And still life in this match. Gary Wallace tapping down something that caused that bowl to lose its way, that bowl of David Richardson's. 18-20 as Gary Wallace pushes that block out. And once again, he's decided to change the land, change the length. A round peg mark with the slope supposedly to assist the bowl, and it hasn't, not all that much. Oh, David hasn't judged it right.
This is a difficult mark because from the situation in front of the leaderboard, it's all uphill, and it's caught them both out.
See Gary push that a long way out. Now it starts to bend. Now it starts to come in. Now a little bit further. Well, he's holding 2. And I'm sure that David Richardson will reach this. Bound to. Does it stop in? Yes, it does.
Richardson won.
And that is the end of it. Brilliant recovery once again from David Richardson, the man who was being nailed down in his box halfway through that match in the same way that he was with John Bancroft, has come up again from the depths of despair to take out a hot favourite Gary Wallace, 21-18.
Well, quite an astonishing comeback yet again by David Richardson. He did just that to John Bancroft earlier in the competition. Now he's come back from the dead again. I think one thing that Colin Trousdale, who's in the final, must know, Roy, is that he's going to have quite a battle on his hands against this fella from Wigan.
Yes, I mean, even if he goes 17-5 in front, he daren't relax, because the way David Richardson's come back, it's quite phenomenal. Not just once, but twice, and he's played superb and proved that he's versatile. He can play short marks and he can play long marks, and of course his striking has got him out of trouble so many times. I don't know who's going to deny him.
Now you've seen him many times, presumably played against him down the years. Have you ever seen him play as well as he's played this week, or with so much courage and determination?
I think David's a very good player. He's not been quite as consistent as he would have liked, but this week he's been superb, and he's going to want a lot of stopping.
Now, I remember you coming back from 19-9 down to win the Greenhorse County Classic a couple of years ago. A similar kind of recovery to the way we've seen David play this week on 2 occasions. What sort of mental approach is required when you get into that stage?
I think when you're so far behind, you sort of think to yourself, well, I can't win the game, so I'll have a go, get a chalk here and a chalk there and try and whittle away and maybe make it look a little more respectable. And then, as you get a few chalks, you come a little bit nearer, you come within 3 chalks of your opponent.
And the guy who's been way out in front is beginning to have his doubts.
That's right. He's thinking to himself, don't say I'm going to lose this now, I've been so far in front. And the pressure transfers to him. And that's what's been happening. But to do it twice like David's done, and who knows, maybe he won't have to do it a 3rd time. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see.
Do you think from Gary Wallace's point of view, Roy, that he actually lost his nerve a little bit there?
I think he did a little bit, yes, because I think what happened with Gary, he's put so much time in and so much preparation in here this week. I think he was determined to make it this week, and when he saw it whittling away, I think that's exactly what happened. I think the pressure transferred to Gary, and with all due respect, he's not quite as experienced as some of the other players, but his turn will come, I'm sure.
Now, conversely, Colin Trousdale has hardly been in trouble this week. He's cruised it to the final.
He's dominated every game, and he's dominated it on that 1 mark. And of course, in the final, what's got to happen is, if they let him settle on that 1 mark, he leads so well. So what's got to happen? They've got to get him away from that and keep him away from that to have any chance. So that's what David's got to do.
I tried to make the point a little earlier that it's all very well talking about local knowledge, but it's almost an insult to suggest that that's all he's got going for him. He's obviously a very accomplished player.
Yes, a lot of people here this week haven't seen Colin before. I've seen him on quite a few occasions, but I must confess he's astounded me this week. I didn't think he really had quite as much talent as he's shown. And what he's done, of course, is when people have taken him away from the centre of the green, he's always found 1 ball in the corner. He's managed to pull 1 ball out, kept himself in the game.
Now, he won the Manchester Evening News, of course. I think for a lot of players, you know, once you've won a big tournament, having previously never won almost a major, that must really give you an uplift and make you believe that even at 49 years of age, Roy, you know, the big time breakthrough, as you said this morning, is really possible.
It's certainly on for him because the Manchester Evening News was played on a big green. And I know when the bookmakers were formulating the odds, they looked at Colin and thought, well, he isn't a corner player and he's going on a green he's never seen before, and so he was way out in betting. But every credit to him, you know, he's done them there, and he's done them all on a similar piece of land. He's done them all on a piece across the centre of the green, and he's got the fighting qualities. He's proved he's got it. He's got bottle.
How much of a point start is this crowd cheering him on from start to finish of every match he plays?
There's nothing like it. It's great. Yeah, I think he's got another thing going for him as well, you see. If he happens to win the toss, by the laws of the game starts exactly on his mark. So if he wins the toss and puts the footer down, he's right on it. So he's got 2 things going for him.
Yeah, good point. And from David Richardson's point of view, the crowd actually love a fighter, this crowd here especially loves someone who's going to fire when he's in trouble. And he's proved to be a crowd favourite too. Do you think that 1 or 2 of them might lean his way?
Oh, I'm certain they will, and there's a lot of Wiganers here, you know, and the Wiganers have all put their money where their mouth is. There'll be a lot of support for David because cash in their pockets to these fellas from Wigan, it means a lot, you know.
Yeah, it's a tough school on and off the green, isn't it, Roy?
Sure is, yeah, indeed it is.
They don't take any prisoners in Wigan, I can tell you, right. OK then, we're going to take a short break now. The final follows that. Colin Trousdale, the local hero, against David Richardson from Wigan. It promises to be a cracker. Join us then.
For hair so shiny you can see your face in it, new Henara shampoos and conditioners. Their finest quality henna enhances the natural beauty of everyone's hair.
Oh, now the Condor's no price here. Oh, Condor mild. Same old Condor, such a mild a brin sort of thing. Oh well, welcome aboard, old boy. Yes, I vividly remember my first pipe full of Condor. We were just around in the Cape. Bit of a typhoon going up. The captain turned to me and said,
Nothing should disturb that Condor moment.
I love advertising, don't you?
People trying to sell you things all over the place. Great fun. Some of them are nice to eat, too. Like these British lamb steaks. Lovely. I like to chuck some rosemary on them. But then I'm an adventurous sort of chap. Then you go slam them under the grill for about 10 minutes. And we haven't got 10 minutes, so here's some I did earlier. Thank you. Yeah. They were absolutely delicious.
Be creative. Slam in the lamb. British lamb. For a really refreshing change, forget the wet and get into the dry. Refreshingly dry blackthorn cider.
These people suffer from the pain of sensitive teeth. Hot things hurt. Cold things really hurt. Relieve sensitivity with Sensodyne toothpastes. Used every day, Sensodyne's special ingredients progressively relieve pain. And Sensodyne F has fluoride and a great fresh taste. Ask your dentist about sensitivity and use Sensodyne. Sensodyne toothpastes to relieve the pain of sensitive teeth.
Want to build up your savings? Get into Halifax Instant Extra. Start with just £500, but the more you put in, the more you benefit, as the interest steps up to our most powerful rate. Take out your money anytime. You won't lose interest. So get a healthy return on your investment with Instant Extra from the Halifax.
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment. You and me alone at last. Because I usually just get to see you at parties. But there's no one to come between us now. Only you, me, and the avocado dip. But first, I'm going to try with nothing more.
You know you love the fresh-baked taste of Ritz, so don't leave them on the shelf. Ritz, if you love them, take them out.
We're both going to pieces.
Yes, welcome back. Time for the final of the 1988 Bassmasters. The trophy and £5,500 to the winner. The two players already out there, Colin Trousdale and David Richardson. The referee, Mary Ashcroft. Commentators, Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
Tails it is.
And the winner of the toss, Colin Trousdale. Is there any significance in that? Well, the one significance is that with certainty we know where he's going. On the Trousdale track, straight across the centre of the green. All areas to right and left. Colin really doesn't care about. This is the mark. Forwards and backwards. And he's bang on with his first. Colin Trousdale basically certainly put out Frank Kitchen and Peter Varney on this mark, though against Peter Varney he did have to play other areas of the green. David playing with a little bit of weight. And the local favourite is on the board with two. Colin Trousdale. 2-0.
Trousdale, 2.
A little bit gloomy as far as the weather is concerned at the Woodland Hotel, but it's a bright and merry audience that's gathered for this final, particularly with the local man Colin Trousdale. Here he is now. Tremendous favourite in this area. course, Colin may have to contemplate more often in this final match where he positions the bowls, because he knows that any sort of a target, and David Richardson will have a bang at it.
2.
Playing up, just to draw in, take the bowl out. Nope. 2 is the cry around the green. And 2 more for Colin Trousdale. 4-0. But that won't worry David Richardson.
Trousdale, 2.
I think half the time David didn't start playing till he's about 15 behind, does he, David?
That's when it's dangerous, isn't it? 15-4 down. And he starts, and you're absolutely right. Trousdale's problem, and he said before he went out to me, I can't get him too close to this fellow. I don't. I've got to push the jack further than I have so far in the hope that he'll play through.
Yes. It's almost as though he puts out a second block at times, Colin Trousdale. A twin to the first one. Good try, and I think might just have shaded it. Yes, yellow ball is just in. Difficulty is he's got to go out wide enough to creep past the yellow ball without hitting it. So, David Richardson is on the board.
Come on, Colin. Richardson, 1.
1-4. Mary Ashcroft certainly making history out on the green. First lady to referee the final of a televised tournament between 2 men bowlers. Fine lead from Richardson. Good response from Trousdale.
There's very little in these, David.
Well, that sorted it out. If there was any doubt before, no doubt now. David holding 2. Colin coming in, thumb peg, and makes the contact, takes 1 out. So that's a single to David Richardson. 2-4. So 4 ends of bowls played, both of them scored on 2 ends. Colin Trousdale scored them in doubles, David Richardson in singles.
Richardson, 1.
And David immediately decides he'll find out how well Colin Trousdale can play the corners of this Woodland Hotel green. Peter Varney tried that out in his semi-final against Trousdale and found that the little man from South Wirral could do it pretty usefully. Run a bit more to win it. That's on its way. That's the one to beat. I think Colin was a little bit scared then, because if he gets up to the jack with still some running in his bowl, it'll go past and fly on. It's just downhill behind the block, which is perched on a little bit of a ridge there.
Richardson, 1.
Another single to David. 3-4 he trails. A rapt audience this Saturday afternoon.
The feature of all those wins by Colin Trousdale was that he built big early leads, and then of course against Peter Varney, where he was 9-0 ahead at the start, he got himself caught up in a tremendous finish, finishing 21-17 to get into this final.
Oh, just flew through. Oh, it's a very partisan audience around this green, Brian. Equally balanced, I think, between the two bowlers.
Yes, I think we've got the Wiganers and we've got the local Ellesmere port support either end of the arena, and certainly a lot of atmosphere, good bowling atmosphere.
Yes, the roars of hooray from the Wigan supporters of David Richardson, who looks to have picked up a double here. Colin taking his time about coming up the green.
Richardson, 2.
Richardson's got the mat down and the blocks away, all in one fluid motion.
And he did it the hard way, didn't he? He came back in a couple of those games that we've seen earlier, the Gary Wallace epic. He doesn't start playing, as we said, until he's about 15-4 down. In this case, he's leading 5-4.
Just a couple of feet through. Good hit. Needed that. Oh, he'd have gone it right out at the back. Oh, yes. Yes. That's the winner.
That wins.
It's going to beat it. Is it going to stop? No.
Richardson, 1.
Single, David Richardson. 6-4, his lead. That audience, which has been on its toes so many times during the whole week of this Bassmasters competition, settling down for what is looking like being an enthralling final. Big leaderboard in the background, recording the happenings of 32 bowlers, which has resulted in this final. The yellow bowls of David Richardson, the blue disc bowls of Colin Trousdale, and it's the yellows that are creeping closer and closer to the target. Break of 6 at this moment, unless Colin Trousdale can stop it. Just crept in, and Colin's got the block back.
Trousdale, 1.
And I wonder if the bookies are taking any bets as to where Colin will placed the jack?
Well, they weren't offering much at the start of the game on who was going to win it. I think it was 5-4 on, and you can have your choice of either player. But we've a shrewd suspicion of where he's going with this.
More or less the centre of that far right-hand side of the green as we look down on it. Tidy. Not strong enough. Creek pass for 2. Yes. David fires. The roar, the miss, and the hoorays from the Trousdale supporters. Two for Colin. 7-6, the lead swings back in his favour.
Trousdale, 2.
And all eyes now are focused on the portion of the green down to our left, because that's where Colin wants to use this little patch of land that he found quite by chance in his very first game in the competition against Les Williams. Line's okay, but for once he got the length wrong, and I'm sure that will unsettle him slightly. David's in. Is that ball rising and falling over the dips in this land? Flies out. And I wonder what that will do to the confidence of Colin Trousdale. It will certainly perk up David Richardson.
Richardson, 2.
He's really bashed Colin Trousdale on Colin's favourite mark. The block just settling over on its side as David's first bowl leaves his hand. Darkening clouds over this portion of Whitby, down the road from Ellesmere Port now, just scattering a few raindrops around. But I don't think anybody will be leaving the match. Run a bit, run a bit, run a bit. Got it.
Trousdale, 1.
Level, 8 across. Colin hasn't given up hope of finding his line and length on this special track of his. First he's got to win it from the corner. Short by a yard and a bit. David's bowl coming down off the little bit of slope to settle behind the blue ball. Colin, thoughtful. Pushing it out with a little bit more pace. Wants the slope to bring it down now. Oh, it's not going to arrive. That's a Tuckney bus ride away.
Trousdale,
2 for Colin Trousdale. 10-8, he leads. Colin, who hasn't had a past record of great victories, Brian. A couple of pairs, but nothing really magnificent perhaps until this year.
Until last month, in fact, when he bowled like this at Whitefield Bowling Club to win the Manchester Evening News event. That was worth 1,500, with a win over the hot favourite Mike Knowles in the final.
Tremendous bowl, exciting this crowd again from David Richardson.
He's done it.
Nothing. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Got it, he got everything. Bowls, jack, almost the referee's feet. And it's all dead. Well, that end is. But not the crowd. They're alive and excited by this player, David Richardson. He doesn't hang about. He really doesn't hang about. Well, David, the furthest I've got in this competition, but I think my present form is good, so I'm in with a chance. His past record in the competition is 85. He reached the quarterfinals where he lost to Brian Duncan, having taken out Ken Strutt, and then in 86 he got slaughtered by Tony Poole, 21-6. But certainly the form he has shown in this tournament so far, and the tremendous dogged determination never to give up. I mean, it's been dogged Dave all the way, hasn't it, Brian?
It has been dogged Dave, and as he has said, the other player, his opponents, have bowled well, but the moment they let him in with a chance, and the moment his striking starts to unnerve them, then he plays, and he's strung together some tremendous breaks. He couldn't believe his break in the semi-final. So far, Trousdale not quite in the groove, is he? Trying very hard this time.
That's better. Yes, that's more like the Colin Trousdale. Watch out, watch out, watch out! Well, that very nearly cost Granada Television a vast amount of money. That very nearly smashed a camera completely.
Trousdale,
2 for Colin Trousdale. 12-8. He leads. I think that will give Colin a lot more confidence now. I think, yes, that shows immediately. He didn't quite find this mark 5 or 6 ends ago, and that must have worried him a bit. Well, I would have thought that some more weight here, just playing it through, not firing it, playing with just a little extra weight. A miss. Another one to Colin.
1.
13-8. Break of 6.
Significant, yeah. Hewitt, 8-13. that Trousdale, who has the block and is the leader, sets the mark. Just move the footer back a metre. Just wants to get a little more land between him and that jack, and a little more land between him and the possible destructive strike weapon that David Richardson can always resort to.
Yes, you're right. This is always the fear, isn't it? When you play these short marks against a power bowler of David Richardson's determination, you're inviting him to have a bang constantly. But he can draw delicately too. Look at that.
Yes, that's a Trousdale bowl. Now then, can he improve on it? He's a great corrector.
Oh, beautiful. Oh. David reckons he can disturb this without using weight, and found the gap. Knocked himself out. A single. Colin, 14-8, his lead.
Trousdale, 1.
Round peg mark. Bias towards the ditch. Slope helping it in, as though it was on a piece of string. Bang another one in, since somebody just down to our right. And that's what he's done. Now, wait, bingo. Yes, he's got one blue bowl off. His own goes off, but one blue bowl is left, and that's the one that counts.
Trousdale, 1.
15-8, Trousdale's lead.
Yes, I had the pleasure of being there to watch Colin Trousdale pick up £1,500 for winning that competition, the Evening News, at Whitefield, and he started off by beating Arthur Murray handsomely. But in his sub-final, he was 20-10 down in his last game, and he came all the way back to win and won the title, and he's here today and looking very good.
Well, he's an electrician by trade, is Colin Trousdale, and you begin to suspect that there is some mechanical, electronic device in his bowls at times. The unerring homing instinct that they have. What about Sparky's magic piano, but it's Sparky's magic bowls. And Sparky being Colin Trousdale, that's exciting this crowd. Oh, yes. What's he hit? No, nothing again. Two more. Colin Trousdale, 17-8.
Trousdale, 2.
Wow. This is the 7th Bassmasters final. Colin Trousdale within sight of joining his name with those of some great champions of the past years. But you can never ever write off David Richardson, as he's proved to us at least twice in this competition.
You're on.
mile behind against John Bancroft, out of sight against Gary Wallace, came back to win them both. But this nagging consistency, is it getting to David? Well, he's not having a bang at this one, he's just playing up to it. Yes, got the contact. Didn't need to fire, and I think that may possibly have taught him a little lesson there. Controlled weight on this short distance is often much more effective than the full-blooded wahoo. Dead end. Start again.
I think he was a bit unlucky too, Hugh. David Richardson, who won the GC Classic at Stretford, beating Brian Duncan in the final, having already qualified from last year when he won the Victoria Trophy over at Stockport. But that's a double qualification. It opened the door for somebody else, Frank Kitchen, in fact, to come in. But I think that here we're getting Trousdale playing very sensibly, Hugh. He's trying to get 2 into the count every time in the hope that if Richardson strikes one off, he's got another one there.
And quite a shower of rain coming down onto the green now. I wonder what effect that will have on the on the bowlers and on the running of their bowls.
I might quicken it up briefly, Hugh. I might just start skimming a little.
Well, it's certainly an extra consideration the bowlers have to take into consideration. The back blue bowl is the one that's counting at the moment. This looks as though it could get it. Yes.
Richardson, 1.
So 9-17. As David has the control of the length and geography of the green again. That last break worth 10 chalks to Colin Trousdale. And he's there again.
Blue ball.
Playing through. Unlucky. Great chance for Colin to pick up a 2 here. Can afford to be short by a couple of feet and still get his 2, but he can't afford to be that short. I don't think that is going to arrive by a mile. Nope.
Trousdale, 1.
18-9.
Among the crowd, all the top players, Len Higginbottom there in the red top in the centre of the frame. First round faller as all the favourites went early doors. 18-9, Colin Trousdale. 16-1 outsider he started off with David Richardson. Then 10-1 for the title.
Oh, look at that! Will you look at that? That bowl had stopped. It had given up.
Hey, he pressed the magic button and he went again, I tell you. He's not an electrician for nothing.
He's got these bowls on wires, I swear it. And here comes the yellow.
Now, where does he put this? Because we've seen that the slightest nudge on the yellow disc bowl of Richardson's could push it into the jack. So he's got to get one round the back, really.
Pushed it out on a wider line. But not enough weight. It didn't come round far enough for him.
Half an inch off.
No, it drifted off. Another single to Colin Trousdale. Well, we've seen David Richardson come back from the dead twice in this competition. It's going to be a miracle now if he comes back from 10 chalks behind, 19-19 down. Colin is clearly sparking and swinging down there now. Bang on the target again. Oh, such precision.
Hugh, if he sticks this one and is very close to a remarkable title win here, but he would then have won something like £7,000 in the space of 3 weeks and a place in the Champion of Champions as well, at Blackpool to come.
Well, there it is. There's the Bassmasters champion down there at this precise moment of time, and David Richardson has one bowl left to change it, and he did. Kills the end. Oh, that was all he could do. There was nothing else he could do. And David Richardson, who has shown us this week that he can be dead-eyed Dick under pressure, pulled one out again. Polishes some of the paint off the bowl as it struck the fence around the green. Colin, apparently totally unconcerned, just picks up the block and throws it back. That same little patch again. I think there's a path being worn across the centre of the green where the footsteps of Trousdale and his opponent have been going. Trousdale and his opponents have been going. Good one, David. Yes. That's given Colin something to contemplate. He's really taking his time about this, and he's going to have a fire. And the warning goes to the camera right behind it. He's going to have a bang at this. Got the hit! Now it's up to David. Can he put another one in? It's trying very hard for him. It's gone out! And Colin Trousdale takes a 20-9 lead. He's all but 9. And the crowd lean forward for what could be a magic moment for Colin Trousdale, the local man, aiming to put his name on a trophy which already has the names of great champions: Noel Burrows, Len Higginbottom, Brian Duncan, Robert Crawshaw, John Brancroft, Chris MacDonald, and in 1988, could it be Colin Trousdale? David fires. One gone. No change. The excitement of the crowd, matched by the almost casual attitude of Colin Trousdale. He's shown no emotion. And that's a super block. That seems to be bang in the road. Here's the firing shot. David Richardson. The blocker worked. It was the blocking bowl that was hit. Colin Trousdale's first bowl sitting down there 2 inches off the jack, where so many of his bowls have been throughout the whole course of this competition. Gets congratulations on the green. The handshake from David Richardson, who has shown us some fine, dogged, determined bowling throughout the whole of the week, but he couldn't pull it off. He couldn't pull off another rescue job against Colin Trousdale. A tremendous victory, 21-9. And onto the green to congratulate him. His wife Anne, big hug for her husband. Maybe nobody'd heard of him. Maybe many hadn't heard of him before this week. But they're going to remember Colin Trousdale now for a long, long time. The outsider who came right through the field and won the Bass Masters.
Well, really a case of local boy makes good, eh, ladies and gentlemen? A great performance by Colin Trousdale there in the final. And now to make the presentations, I'd first of all like to welcome our coordinator for Bass, who works so closely with Granada Television on this event, Mr. Simon Hamlin, and Mr. Raymond Hutchison of Bass. Thank you. Well, first of all, a cheque for £2,500 to the runner-up, David Richardson. But just before the presentation to the winner and the mammoth cheque of £5,500, I do know that Mr. Hutchison would just like to say just a couple of words to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had 4 days of great bowling, and a worthy winner has emerged at the end of it. May I thank you for coming along and supporting the event in such great numbers, and may I welcome or look forward to welcoming you to the Bass Masters next year in 1989.
Thank you. And now to the Bassmaster for 1988. The trophy and the biggest cheque in Crown Green Bowls, £5,500, Colin Trousdale. So the great escapologist David Richardson couldn't do it for a third time, and ever since the Bassmaster started in 1982, I can't remember a more popular winner than Colin Trousdale, who's with us now. I suppose all the family and friends have been congratulating you since?
Oh yes, yes. Just over the moon. I've never seen so many family at the bowls match. You know, they don't really bother.
2 points, Colin. How important, first of all, was the tremendous support you received?
In the final, it was everything, wasn't it? I mean, there was people from Wigan shouting and bawling for David, which is natural, isn't it? But they were drowned out, weren't they?
They were indeed.
It's not very often I listen to the crowd. I just kind of shut off.
And also, how important was your knowledge of the green? Because 5 years ago you won the local merit here. You clearly know it well. Clearly.
Well, I do know about the green, but as I say, I don't play the green often. I've only played it on the Thursday night before the tournament and the weekend, and I've only practiced 4 or 5 times for an hour, possibly 2 hours at a time.
I think it's fair to say, Colin, isn't it? The closest anyone got to you was Peter Varney in the semi-finals. Apart from that, it was a cruise.
That's right. Yes, I think that was the hardest game with Peter Varney.
Now, you've been bowling for over 30 years. How come it's taken so long for you to actually achieve something in the big time?
It's so difficult. There's so many good players around. You go so far in the competition, you come to the qualifying round and you're out. You know, it's very, very difficult to qualify, especially for this one.
Well, you qualified for next year already.
Well, all well and good, yes. But with being a local player, I've been travelling to try and qualify
Yeah.
for this.
Colin, thanks very much
finally
indeed.
done.
Very well done again. I hope you've
Thank
all
you.
enjoyed this week at the Ellesmere Port. Bye-bye.